Before the video even starts, I just wanted to tell you guys that I got a new audio setup, so in future videos you'll probably have better audio quality, so you can look forward to that. Can you make more adventure game tutorials? Make more adventure game tutorials. Where are the adventure game fucking tutorials? Holy shit, guys. I'm sorry, but I've been absent. I'm a fucking lazy asshole. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, but now I've sat down and I've created some new things for you guys to play around with for this adventure game series. And basically this has a lot of how do I say, customization. You can play around with it. You can create quite a bit of them. So with this and the next video, which is about making quests that function, you guys are gonna be able to, like, actually play your game, like create functional quests and do things which are going to allow you to just like progress with your game. So in the meantime, I'll be creating new content for you guys. Maybe something away from the adventure game tutorial, maybe for it, I'm not sure. But today we have the adventure game tutorial part, I think it's part 10, I'm not sure. This is going to be a two-part video. Well, I mean, part 10 and 11 are going to be about the same thing. And it's going to be about creation of quests. Now, quests, like quest functionality, that's going to be in the next video. In this video, I'll show you how you actually gain access to quests. So when you like walk next to an NPC, you get to him and he provides you with a quest. So I've created two types of like quest providing, I guess, things, like two types of ways you can see what you need to do and how you get your quest. The first one, the way you get them is pretty same. So you have this NPC, and on the NPC you have this like arrow which follows you. Now the arrow, oh fuck, I fucked up. Let me go again. So basically you have this arrow that follows you around. So wherever you are, you're gonna see the arrow. You're gonna see it, like it's gonna follow your character. I'll show you how you do that later, but now I'm just showing you how it looks like so you know what you're gonna get. And when you walk to the NPC, you get this screen. So you basically get this little note. You can create this by yourself. I made it really quickly. You can make this look a lot better. Normally, if you want a tutorial about making things look pretty, I can do that, but after the whole quest functionality and the quest video is complete. So this thing pops up, the quest gets shown, and in the next video I'll make it so I'll actually leave this this quest marker above the NPC. So actually when you finish the quest, when you like finish it, it disappears. So now that you've entered the trigger for the quest, you cannot, when you enter the trigger again, which is over here, it does not show, but in the upper left corner you can see the find the missing cake thing, and that's basically the quest. That's the first way you can get it, and the second way, which I think is better and I would use, I mean, it's all about personal preference, you can do whatever you want, but basically this is it. So you have this box collider and it has two of them. So I've made two scripts for the two different ways. Now I'll show you the other way. I do not know why I showed you the second one first, but yeah, sorry. Another thing I forgot is you can put an audio clip here. I think I do not have an audio clip currently, but basically you just make an audio source and put the audio clip you want, and when you enter the trigger, the audio clip is going to play. It's going to play only once, so don't worry. So the first way is, let me just show you. You have the show quest, everything. So this is the quest one. I'll just make this, turn this off, and this is for that. So now let me show you how this looks like. So basically you walk in the trigger, the quest appears, but as you notice in the upper left corner, the thing, find the missing cake, does not appear. When you exit the box, you cannot see it again, but now when you hold Q or whatever key you assign it to, when you hold it, this appears. So that's pretty cool. You have tab for inventory, you have Q for this, you can like pick up things, you can check them in your inventory, see, alright, that's what I need for the quest, and go hand out the quest. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. I'll just delete all of these things basically for the quest marker, I'll show all of the things, how you create them, etc. So I'll just delete this, and I will delete the quest UI. And for the show box, I mean, I can delete this as well, but yeah, I'll delete it, I guess. I don't know. So let me just put this AI out of here. So first things first, I'll explain the scripts. So I have the scripts pulled up over here. So show quest and show quest 2. Now, they work pretty simple. They're pretty simple, they're pretty similar. So let me show you the first one that I did, which is show quest 2. Basically, you have this game object, which is the quest UI, which is the thing that shows up in the upper left corner, and it stays there all the time. And the show quest, this is the thing that pops up when you enter the box collider, and when you leave it, we want it to disappear. This is the bool which checks if you entered the collider, and this is the bool which checks if this is for the sound. These three things. So this is a bool which checks if the sound effect has been played, and if it's true, it's not going to play it the second time. On the start, we have audio is get component. We have the audio source and the audio clip. The audio is we get the component, the audio source, and the audio clip is actually going to be the clip that we use. And at the start, we make sure that both the quest UI and the show quest is disabled by using the setActive function. And this is the part where things start to change. So on trigger enter, collider other, this checks if the thing that we collided with is tagged. If the thing that collided with the quest box collider that has the script on it is tagged player, it checks if it's tagged player. I'm sorry, I cannot talk. And if already played is false and entered is false. So if these things are not, if they're false, we do the rest of the code. If they're not, it does not do anything. So if all of these criteria are met, we set the quest UI to true, the show quest to true, audio play one shot sound, and the sound intensity is 5. Already played true, entered true. So this is just the thing. So we make sure that we do not do this again when we enter the collider. And on trigger exit, if other.tag player, so if the thing that exited the trigger is the player, we destroy the show quest, which is the thing that appears. So that's the first way that we've created. Remember that's the first way where the thing, the quest scroll pops up and the thing in the upper left corner. So the scroll thing gets deleted, and you can see what quest you have over here. You can play around with these scripts because I'm gonna show you how all this works. You can play around with the scripts and basically combine the two, which would be pretty cool. For example, have the thing that tells you what the quest is at the top left corner, and when you hold tab, the full quest dialogue and everything that you got at the beginning shows up. So the second way, where we only get the quest scroll and when you hold Q, it appears. It's pretty similar. So we have the quest UI, the game object. We have a collision integer 0. Now I've did this a bit different so you guys can see how you can use booleans on different ways. Basically, a boolean is you can state it as an integer that has a value of 0 and 1. 0 being the false value, 1 being the true value. Basically, I did it over here. You'll see what I mean later. Audio clip, sound, audio source, audio. You already know about this. Private bool already played. You already know about this. The start function, I I get the component of the audio source for the audio, and I set the quest UI to false. Same as over here. And on the void, on trigger enter. Now this is basically the same part over here. It just if I entered the trigger, it checks if the tag is player, it checks if the quest UI.activeSelf is false. I did this a bit differently, so it checks if this game object is false. Some of the things here aren't necessary. I'm just doing them to show you guys how different things. I'm just trying to explain a lot of things so you guys can do them like in future scripts if you're doing it by yourself. So basically we set the quest UI to false here, and we check if the quest UI active self, this is if the local active state of the game object, so not like scene. Basically have like active self and like active in the, I think it's like you have a different active, I think it's world, or it's basically like if the game object is active in the scene. But basically it checks if the game object is active, it's not, okay, and if the collision is 0, already played, false. If all these criteria are met, this happens, this gets shown to true, and the audio plays. Now, when you enter the trigger again, because when you exit the trigger, the quest UI is set active false, and the collision is 1. Now, because next time the collision is 1, this is basically the same properties as a boolean. This can be replaced by a boolean, but I wanted to show you how you can do it with an integer as well, but probably better to do it with a boolean. I'm just showing you guys different things so you can like play around with them. Because it's set to 1 and here the collision is 0, this is not going to do, just because one of these criteria is not met. Now, in the update function, when I input get button q, so because we're using the input get button, you're gonna have to create an input in the called q, or call it whatever, but the same name has to stand over here. So let me just show you how you do that real quick, because people have been, in previous videos I've been using inputs called use, and people do not have those inputs. This is how you make them. You go to edit, you go to project settings, you go to input, and basically these are all the inputs that you create. You already have some that are pre-made. You probably have a lot of these already. These ones are the ones that are made in this project, the tab one and the Q one. The tab one in the previous video for the inventory, and the Q one for this video. You can call it whatever you want, and you can make the positive button whatever you want, but make sure that this name is the exact same name that you're using over here. Now it checks if the collision is 1, then, so if the collision is 0, this can be replaced by, for example, making a boolean and making this like if it's false and then if it's true over here. But since we're using an integer, so if collision is 1, and while we're the get button thing, it's different from get button down. You can see that on the Unity API, but in short, get button down is it checks the frame where you press the button, and get button is it keeps checking the frames while the button is being held down, and we want that while we're holding the button Q. We wanted the quest to be shown on our radar, or well, like on our screen. So quest UI set active true, and if input.get button Q, it also like if input.get button, it shows up the quest. Like this can be like a little splash, like you know, like having scrolls, and then when you take out scrolls in video games, it like makes this like paper noise. That's what I tried to replicate here. So like if you click the button Q, it plays the sound. Why is this not over here, and why have I made a new if statement? It's because that because this get button checks every frame that the button Q is, oh my god, sorry. It checks it checks every frame where the button Q is pressed, and this makes it so that only one frame is checked, because if it keeps checking for the button Q and every frame the button Q is pressed, it's gonna be playing this sound over and over and over again. It's gonna have a really weird effect of like the sound just being like played like every like millisecond, so it's gonna be really bad. But this checks like while the button is pressed. It checks if it was pressed. It checks only once, like if it was pressed, and then you might not understand, but you'll see what I mean. Like if you try it yourself. Basically, this just plays the sound once and not 1,000 times over here. And this checks if the get button up, so the frame that the button Q is let go, the quest UI is active false, so it's not active anymore. Might have rushed this a bit, but hopefully you guys understand. Now I'll show you how you can set it up. Basically, we have this tab, we have a queue that I showed you how to do. And for the thing over here, you have another script which I'll show you in another video. It's a pretty simple, like I call the quest marker. Basically what it does is it rotates the like quest marker towards your character. Now you can like change this to player or main camera if you've been following this this project. Like there's a difference if the quest marker follows your player and if it follows your camera. You can try putting player over here and see how that looks, but I think the main camera one is better because the main camera is tagged main camera. It's gonna work. If it's not gonna work. So yeah. Now we're gonna want to make a box collider. So let's just make a cube, drag it over here. Nah, this is okay. I'll maybe put it a bit in front of the character. So like this, maybe a bit smaller. Alright, this is okay. I'll turn off the mesh renderer so we cannot see it, and the box collider thing, I'll tag it as an is trigger. And just for, I guess, I've already shown you both ways, but just drag any of the ways you want and add a audio source. You do not want to play it on awake. You can add an audio component here. I do not have any, but basically just like add an audio clip over here and it's gonna work. You do not have to add it over here as well. For the quest UI, we're gonna want to create it. So game object UI, and let's create I guess an image. Click F and click 2D. Now this is the image we want. These are the things like from the previous tutorials. They do not matter. I set the anchors on the center. They're already set by default, so that's okay. And in the textures, I downloaded this like quest marker off the internet. For the best resolution, or not the quest, sorry, we're not talking about the quest marker, we're talking about the quest scroll. I created this in GIMP pretty quickly, so you're gonna wanna go to the texture, make sure it's a sprite 2D and UI. Just click apply when you create it, and it's gonna the background. It's gonna be like these checkers. That means that it's gonna take the alpha and make it transparent. So just basically go ahead and drag it over here, or sorry, not there. Let's not do it like that. Click the image that you created and drag it over here to the sprite source image. Now you can see this is pretty small, and we want to check make it like look as good as we can. And the dimensions are 640 by 640 and 640 by 640, and we're gonna put that over here. So 640 by 640. So now it's gonna look much better. You can like downscale it, but make sure that they're the same like your ratio. After that, I just call it, I guess, quest 1 or whatever. Go back to the game. What happened? Go back to the game, the scene, sorry, and find the cube that we created. I'm just gonna call this quest trigger, and over here to the quest UI, I'm gonna add the thing that we just created, which is quest 1, and I'll make this a child object to this, why not? And now it's gonna work. So now, as you can see, it disabled it. It made it like it disabled it, and when you walk in the trigger, it shows up. When you exit it, it disappears. When you hold Q, it appears. The same thing goes for the second script that I show you guys. I'm not gonna show you how you do it. It's really the same. You just have another like quest UI, another thing which you can put on. The thing that creates in the like upper left corner, the thing that like tells you the cake is missing or whatever, and you have the thing that appears like this thing, which appears when you enter the trigger, and when you leave it, it disappears. Really simple. This video might have been kind of weird. I am sorry. Haven't recorded in a while, not used to a lot of things. The problem with this adventure game tutorial is I try to pack it like in the short amount of time that I can, the shortest amount of time that I can, but still maintaining to like talk to you guys and actually explain the things that I'm doing. I try to do a good job at it. Not sure, some videos better, some videos are worse, sorry, but I think I got my point across. This script is gonna be available to download. Oh yeah, and one more thing, the quest marker that you create on top, basically get this quest. I found this off Google, never just like whatever. Make it a 2D sprite and UI and just drag it on the scene. I'll make it a child object of this. Set everything to 0. Drag it up top. Downscale it a lot. Yeah, this is okay. And just add the where is it? The quest marker script to it. And it's gonna work. So all of these scripts are gonna be on my GitHub. Hopefully I've explained things to a degree that you understand. If not, I don't know, I guess like make fun of me in the comments or something, like tell that how I do shit tutorials or whatever, and I'll probably read them and feel pretty sad, so you guys won't get tutorials anymore. I'm just kidding, but yeah. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. The second part is coming soon. The second part is gonna take some time because making quests or making things that functionality ranges from things to things. So I'll try to make a really simple functioning quest that you guys can use. For example, like come over here, he tells you to find the missing cake, you find the cake, you bring it back, you get a reward, that's it. If you want more complex quests, that's going to require more work, and because there's a numerous range of things that you can do, I'm just going to try to explain it as good as I can, and you guys might have to create some things by yourself if you want it to look how you imagined. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.